Oop, that's recording. I think we're not fucking square.
Right.
Starting again?
That's you, man.
I can't remember the last thing we were talking about.
How did you get into Static X?
We gotta say welcome to the shit first.
Okay.
Or press the button.
Press that there.
So,
Sorry.
episode 7.
Yeah.
So today we thought we'd have a chat about a band that's I suppose one of our favourite bands, Static X.
Everyone's favourite band.
My first last night, mate. We finally got out and about.
Yeah. First gig in 3 months. You got to go to.
Hometown Heavies 2.0.
Yeah.
So by the time this comes out, this will be last Friday. But fucking good night. Good to get out and about. All the bands are fucking sick. It was just awesome.
It wasn't too bad a turnout as well.
Good turnout.
I think people are just happy to be able to go out to gigs again. Because the pubs have been open for a while, but there hasn't been any gigs.
No, and they had restrictions the other week too. A certain amount of people through the door. There didn't seem to be any last night.
That's strange because all restrictions got lifted ages ago. But, oh well.
Good old
Good night.
pandemic.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah. Alrighty. So,
Let's get into it.
Static X, mate.
Yeah,
How
mate.
did you discover the Static of the X?
Like everything else, Channel V.
Yep.
Yeah. Probably recording their video clips to watch back and back and back because he couldn't get music back in the day in small towns, and there was no other avenue of heavy metal
Yep.
back in those days, so the internet wasn't around. Well, it was, but not to what we
Not
have.
like we see it these days.
Not like we have now. No one was streaming or downloading, so you couldn't just get anything.
That's how everyone finds music these days, just
Yeah.
on the internet.
Yeah. So yeah, just watching Channel V and recording. So I couldn't be bothered staying up. I would set the timer up to record.
Yep.
And then I could just watch it the next morning or whatever. And then the CD catalogues, the mail order stuff. It cracks me up every time that we used to get CDs like that. It's like, how basic is that? The
It
catalogue
works though.
It did, but it took its time. But yeah, so I bought a heap of CDs through that mail order catalogue stuff. And yeah, so that was in rotation for quite a while.
Yep.
And then, yeah, just been a fan ever since, really.
Yep.
Yeah, what about yourselves?
You got me into Static X
I
before
know.
I even knew you.
Yeah.
As we talked about before, we had a mutual friend, Ben, which I'm still surprised that he never fucking introduced us. The amount of time I knew him, the amount of time you knew him, and he never thought to go,
This guy.
introduce John and Jane.
I only went into his house once.
Yep.
And I don't think I'd ever been to 2J. Or,
That was when he was living out bush still.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
next to Glen.
just never went to 2J. So, and you were at 2J High, I think. And I left after year 10 as you came in for year 11, so.
No, yep.
Or year 12, whatever, so.
Well, yeah, essentially, so you were giving Ben music, like Static X, and well, a lot of metal, really. And then Ben was passing on to me, and he gave me Wisconsin Death Trip and Machine. And when I first heard it, I wasn't too keen on it, until I went and Korn were coming to town. And it was Korn, Static X, and Fear Factory. Static X and Blue, both bands off fucking stage.
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, fuck yeah, I've got to check this band out again. And fell in love with them from there.
That was it.
And a few times I've seen them, they've never put on a bad show.
Yeah, right.
They've always been consistently fucking good. And they always take the night, no matter who's playing. They always fucking steal the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good when bands can live up to their expectations. If they put out a good album and they sound good live, they put on a good show. But if they sound good on an album and they're shit live,
I've seen a few bands like that.
I just don't bother with them.
It's one of the
Bands
things
like
like when we used to have Soundwave and shit like that and Big Day Out.
Yeah.
And you go, oh fuck yeah, such and such is playing.
They know shit.
And you go, it's like, that's not even the same band.
Yeah.
That is some fucking bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've been to a few gigs like that. It's never good.
Yeah.
Never good. Turns you off the music completely. Some bands I don't even listen to anymore, and I was a fan. And I think we played a couple of songs of some bands, and I don't even listen to them at all. I haven't heard any of their new stuff for years.
Yeah.
Some of these bands, I just don't care anymore because they were shit live.
Fair enough.
It's bad when they have a go at the audience because that was my big thing. And there was this one big international band when I was living in the Eastern States, and they came over and they were fucking horrible live. and they kept having a crack at the audience for not.
You don't want to say names?
No. They kept having a crack at the audience. Trivium were with them that year, that's all I'll say. And if you know when I was living in the Eastern States, then you can figure out what band I'm talking about. But
yeah, there is a band that we mentioned, we were talking about slightly last night when we were at the gig.
Yeah.
They always used to come with Trivium for a while there.
Yeah. And
Possibly them.
Possibly.
Talk about it after.
Yeah. But they were just horrible, man. They were trying to get the audience, and the audience's energy up by talking shit to them. But they were literally just standing on stage doing nothing. Just, they could have been even lip syncing. Who knows? Because they didn't look like they were playing anything. So it was just really shit. So that was really disappointing. But Static X put on a good show.
Yeah.
That's good.
Really good show. That's like you're saying about the energy. When they came that year with Korn, I was standing in front of Monkey, and Monkey was just like a zombie.
Yeah.
Just standing there, leaning over his guitar like this, looking spaced out, just swaying back and forth.
Yeah.
That was him the entire fucking show.
Yeah. And that's what I always say, like, big bands like that, they always come to Australia for the last leg of their international tour. Like, I get it's easy to just hop the pond and go to Europe first, but there's nothing wrong with starting in Australia. You've still got to fly here and leave here.
Well, in the past years, there are bands that start here. They sort of do, like, Australia, Japan, then back around the other way. And
Australians probably enjoy those gigs because the band isn't tired as shit.
I think we just enjoy any gigs that happen to come through Perth these days.
That's true. If they don't cancel.
They do a fucking Metallica on us.
Yeah. The great debacle of 2019.
So what would you class then as your favourite Static X album?
All three. The first three albums.
Yeah.
But probably leaning more towards Shadow Zone because of the flow and the continuity of the music. So that's really about it.
That was a different writing process too, because that's when he got fucking Pedo McFuckstick in the band.
Yeah.
And he was helping Wayne write a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But
a lot of people aren't happy about that these days.
Well, he should have been fucking castrated.
You know,
he shouldn't even be out of jail.
With everything that's happening over in America, like there's people who have been like careers are being ended in the entertainment industry because they done blackface back in the 80s as a joke. So I'm surprised the people of America haven't uprised and said, "Oh, this guy was a pedophile. You have to like denounce that music and."
They have though, essentially.
Like get rid of that album completely, so Shadow Zone won't exist, sort of thing.
Well, yeah, they'd never
because
do that.
Trip Easton had something to do with it.
But that's the thing, because Tripp was actually convicted and charged of it.
Yeah. 2
counts. And I remember seeing an interview that Wayne was like, yeah, fuck that guy, you know, when all that happened, people were messaging Wayne threatening to kill him because they're like, fuck you, you pedo.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I have nothing to do with this guy. But we'll get into Tripp
later.
A little bit later on.
Yeah.
For me, I reckon, like you said, the first 3 albums, but I think the first 4 albums are great. But still, the Wisconsin Death Trip or Machine's a close second for my favourite.
Yeah.
And
Machine, the tone of Machine between Wisconsin Death Trip and Shadow Zone is so fucking different. Like it took me a while to get into it. I like the album. I enjoy listening to it, but it took me a while to like enjoy listening to the album because the tone is completely different.
Well, that's the thing with Wisconsin Death Trip. They had fuck knows how much time in between to write that until they released it. And then apparently with Machine, while they're on tour touring Wisconsin Death Trip, Wayne's in the back of the bus, sitting there with his recorder, his little 4-track and his guitar, writing Machine, while the rest of the boys were out front partying. And apparently that was something that put a big spanner in the works later on down the track too.
Yeah.
With the whole infighting in the band and all that shit.
A lot of bands do that. They always have one person in the back of the bus.
Well, I remember Wayne saying something along the lines of he should have made Machine his first solo project. Like his first solo album, because he wrote the whole fucking thing. But that's another thing we can get into later.
Yeah, that's another conversation.
You saw the way they recorded Wisconsin Death Trip?
Yeah. With
the fucking plywood and...
Yeah. Drum triggers on the plywood.
And then recording the cymbals separate.
That was crazy.
Fuck, who was that?
You know, it just goes to show you really don't need the best of everything to make good music.
No, if anyone wants to watch that, I'll remind myself now when I'm editing, I'll put the link in the description below. Pretty sure it was a guy called Warren Hunt, I want to say. Oh, fuck. 2 seconds.
2 seconds. But it's crazy, like he just had boards of MDF or plywood or something and just put piezos on there and triggered the sounds.
Yeah.
And then came in and recorded the cymbals later. even now it's unheard of to hear a band doing shit like that.
I think I'm totally fucked up his name.
Most people have Franken kits for drums. They have this bass drum for this sound. They have these toms for this sound.
Well, these days it's all done on a computer. You're on a different sound. You plug in the different fucking sound on a computer.
Yeah.
What's this bloke's name? This will remind me later on to put it in too.
I always thought it was hilarious when a drummer or a guitarist, probably guitarist not so much, I don't know, you can say something about that. Like a drummer would be endorsing Pearl drums or DW or something.
Yeah.
And then you see studio clips of them
Warren Huart
from
Produce Like a Pro.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'll put a link to that video that we're talking about with he had sat down and had a chat with the who was it, the engineer of the Wisconsin Death Trip album, and it's quite interesting. If you're into Static X, check it out.
Yeah. But I was just saying, I think it's weird how drummers will endorse Pearl or Tama or DW, but then you see like side shots of them in the recording process, not even using that gear, like nothing to do with it.
Well, I suppose they use whatever's going to give them the best sound.
Yeah, I know, but like, how can
Guitarists do the same thing. You have guitarists that go, all right, I'm strictly endorsed by, say, ESP or Fender or whatever else, and then you see them in the studio, and they're playing their Gibson Les Paul.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, that gave me the fattest sound, but then they won't go play it live on stage.
No, exactly.
But
fucking
they do the same with amps and shit.
That's fucking strange.
They might be endorsed by Marshall, yet you see them in the studio, and they're using a messer. Shit like that.
Yeah. So oh well, fuck it. Man, back in the band days, playing music. Were you influenced at all by Static X?
Yes.
I wasn't.
I was like I said previously, Wayne was an influence for me.
Yeah.
But that was more in the way of when we started the band thing, stepped away from covers and started trying to do originals. I just found the simplicity of what he played. It sounded heavy, it hit hard, and it was simple.
Yeah.
Instead of us all trying to fucking, it's just like strum that one chord, change up, put a scream over the top of it, there's a fucking song.
There's a riff and some vocals.
And it was just a lot of riffs.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to get too technical, because I was always a rhythm player. I didn't play any of the lead shit. We had lead guitarists for that.
Yeah.
Whether it was like when we had Grigio or when Matt stepped onto guitar. So that's why for me, I found the simplicity of what he did very inspirational, I suppose you'd call it, because it worked.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. No, there wasn't enough. Like, I suppose you had like the same person on every album doing all the work. So for me, as a drummer, there wasn't really anything that stood out between Ken J and then old mate from Purple Circle stepping in to do the sessions.
Purple Circle?
No, not Perfect Circle. A Perfect Circle. He stepped in to do the session work, which is different sounding again and had a little bit more going on. But then when that Nick, I can't remember his last name, it sounds Japanese. I'm probably racist for saying that.
Orishi or Oshisha or
something. I'm not going to fuck it up, so I won't say it. He was different again, so there was, and his style didn't really do much for me on the albums that he drummed on. It was just there.
Well, essentially that's the thing. So we had Ken J on Wisconsin Death Trip and Machine.
Yeah.
But then they had, like you say, that guy from Perfect Circle, a studio drummer for Shadow Zone.
Yeah.
And then he didn't play live, I don't think. Oh, maybe he done a couple of shows, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But then that Nick bloke, whose name we currently cannot pronounce or remember, he then jumped in and was he with them till the end then?
He was, pretty sure he started War, Cannibal, and Cult of Static.
So should we blame him for the albums get progressively worse then, or?
No, because that's just bands in general.
So I still can't listen to Cult of Static all the way through.
I can't. I was actually trying to listen to it the other day before doing this a few times, and it's weird. It's like the way the guitars sound. It sounds like the beginnings of like black metal, that really shit, cheap, distorted sound.
Yep.
But then it's got like when halfway through the song, it's like, oh, so it sounds like the beginnings of a black metal band, some kid trying to learn black metal with really basic gear. But then the way the music's put together and the lyrics written and all that sort of stuff, it actually reminds me of early days of punk. I can't do that.
Well, the other thing is, I know you don't really listen to a lot of lyrics. Like, I listen to them because I used to do the fucking singing thing, so I'd get inspiration from lyrics or whatever else. But I don't know if you've noticed how many songs on that Cult of Static are written about his wife. He had like, her name was Tara
something.
Might have even been Terra Ray.
Mm.
But he had that on one of them, like Terra/Ray was one of the songs.
That was one of the songs that stopped.
Sting Ray and fucking Terra Riser, possibly, I don't know. There was all these different names with like her name in it. And I know that if we get into, you hear about the breakup and shit with the band.
Yeah.
You're never going to know the full story because, Wayne's gone.
She's gone.
So she's gone as well.
She should be defending herself anyway.
Well, exactly.
But
But everyone else is pretty much saying, well, she's the one that broke up the band.
Mm.
Don't know fucking Yoko Ono on them. And, but you're never going to know.
No, you'll never know.
But he was obviously obsessed with her to the point where he was doing these songs about her.
She must have had some magic pussy.
Well, she was a porn star.
There you go.
So she's doing something right. But that's the thing, and it's like, that's why I felt as well that, you hear about all this shit where the rights to the name Static X were split between Wayne and Tony.
Yeah.
And then apparently Wayne was having to pay Tony for the rights to actually go out and tour as Static X and play the songs. But then I also remember, whether it was reading or what I saw in an interview or whatever it was, that Wayne was pretty much saying the amount of money Tony was asking him to pay him, he was touring for nothing. He wasn't making any fucking money out of it because the amount of money he had to pay Tony was like, it pretty much fucked him. That's why he ended up going, alright, I'm not using the name anymore, and come out with that Pig Hammer. Was it Pig Hammer?
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
I didn't get into that. I listened to it once or twice, the album, but I didn't.
I tried to listen to it once or twice and I still couldn't.
No.
Still couldn't get through it. Like, it wasn't Static X. It wasn't what you'd expect.
Mm. And considering as well that Wayne was always the main songwriter, but I suppose people evolve. As they get older, they evolve. Like, it always comes back to the same thing where people are like, alright, they've released this album, but we want an album that sounds like the last album. But then if they do that too much, then people are going, oh, this is boring, it's just a repeat of the last album, we want something new. So bring out something new and everyone hates it. You can never fucking please people.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
That's,
Oh, man. But inspirationally, not really too much for me. I never looked into lyrics. There's not much to their lyrics for Static X.
there's nothing at all.
A song could last 30 seconds if they didn't hit repeat on some things.
That's the thing, it's like, that's what I meant about the simplicity. It is very simple, but it's effective.
Yeah. No, and that's what I like about the music. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but yeah, for me, music is like, if I have to sit there and think about what that vocalist or whoever wrote the song is trying to get across, and I have to think about it from their perspective, and then I have to think, fuck, well, this and that, that's not enjoyable. I like music because it's enjoyable. I don't want to sit there and need to listen. I'm not going to pick apart a song and say, oh, he was really trying to say this because of this. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I like the song. Who gives a shit?
Well, and a lot of the bands doing that these days to push their politics.
Yeah, and that's one thing I can't stand. I hate that shit.
I'd rather you can have whatever views you want. It's just like politics and religion are the same thing for me.
Yeah.
You can believe whatever you want.
Yeah.
But don't try to push it on everyone. And now these days with all this social fucking influencers or whatever, and the bands are jumping on board too. There's quite a few bands that I really like.
Yeah.
That I can't look at any of their shit outside of the music because it's all too fucking political.
I'll say it right now because we were speaking about it last night. Machine Head is one of those bands for me. Rob Flynn has gone full retard on his Instagram if you look through it.
Yeah.
About the protesting and shit that's happening. He wrote a song with old mate from Killswitch Engage, or had him as a guest vocalist on there. And they're trying to act hardcore, and it's like, well, your message is actually pretty shit. Like,
see, and that's why I stay away from all social media.
Yeah, I can't
like the
it.
most I've been on social media is now with us doing this stuff.
Yeah.
Is me jumping on once a fortnight to upload videos.
The whole thing, the industry, and this isn't just music, but like entertainment industry, when it comes to pushing their political agenda, they've basically gone vegan on it. They're throwing it at your face. They want you to eat it up. They think it's the best way of life, just because it's their view. And that's how vegans are, and that's how they've always been, and that's how social media's going because of everything that's happening. Yeah. So I try not to even look at the shit. Like, if a band I like had an album coming out tomorrow, I probably wouldn't know about it. Yeah. Because I don't follow anyone.
I'm not up to date anymore on what bands are coming out or anything like that.
No. It's just
the only time I know if there's a new album out is like when I come see you, and if we run through JB Hi-Fi.
Yeah. We
and have a quick search and notice it's like, fuck, I didn't know this album was out.
Yeah. Then you get it and they're talking political shit on it. It's fucking depressing.
So away from the politics.
Yeah.
Essentially, at one stage, as we said before, we might as well have been a fucking Static X cover band.
Yes.
Because they're nice, easy fucking fillers for songs. And I mean, back when me and Jane were playing in bands doing the cover thing, we knew probably, 40 or 50 songs, maybe more.
Yeah, and a chunk of it was Static X.
And easy 10 songs, between the two of us, because you got to think, we might have done 2 or 3 Static X songs with one certain lineup.
Yeah.
And then we get the new lineup in, it's like, there's a gig coming up, you haven't learned them songs, we're short, right, chuck in this one.
Yeah.
That's how when we went and done that first gig, the most boring fucking song Static X ever released, Dirt House. We had this gig and essentially...
That was horrible.
What old have we been? 17, 18?
18, I think.
And we had this gig lined up, and essentially, before the gig, the singer quit. So I was like, fuck. So then I was like, alright, I'll sing. Singing through a bass amp, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And then we ended up playing this set, and we're like, alright, we need a filler, 20-minute set or 30-minute set, whatever it was.
30 minutes, yeah.
So essentially, we played
Dirt House.
5 Static X songs. And I worked it out as well. The other song we were forgetting last time we talked about it was Aerials.
Oh, yeah.
So we played Aerials by System of a Down, Before I Forget by Slipknot, Liar by El Nino,
Yeah.
which I think we discussed as well was probably in direct retaliation to the singer quitting because she was a fucking liar.
Yeah.
And then, was it Black and White, Control It, Dirt House, I'm the One and the Only.
Yeah.
But Dirt House only came about because we went through, we played all the fucking, all of the set.
Didn't we have that hymn song, HIM song in there? Wings of a Butterfly? Pretty sure that was.
No, that was later on
That was
the
later?
trip.
Oh, okay.
My vocal range wasn't there yet to do that shit. This was when I just first started trying to sing and play at the same time. And we come up like 4 or 5 minutes short on this set list, and we're like, fuck, the gig's in tomorrow or whatever it was, or in an hour or some shit, I don't know what it was. We need another song. It's alright, Dirt House. And the whole thing is just, you just palm you to... And Kyle still somehow found a way to fuck it up.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm not even going to edit your name out, you fucking dickhead. But still.
That was good times.
Yeah, so, but in between all the other bands, we also played Cold. Fuck, I should have written down. We had about 10 Static X songs all up that we played in between our various lineups.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Maybe even more.
Yeah, I was going to say probably more.
Because we played quite a bit of Shadow Zone.
Mm.
But I suppose that was the album that came out around that time that we were doing that band as well.
Even when I had my electronic drum kit, before I sold that, I was playing, just pop your phone or my computer into the module and just running music through it, and I was playing a heap of Static X.
Mm.
Just got to actually enjoy playing it.
Well, it's fucking fun to play.
Yeah. Mostly Shadow Zone. Because that was probably...
I mean, for the simplicity of the music, I could probably go down and sit down for a week and learn all their songs off every album.
Yeah.
Because it's not hard.
No.
But get a drum kit, mate, and we'll start a Static X cover band. I can just fucking do this. Gel that shit up.
With your dreads.
Not like old fucking Zero Dope. Fucking hell.
It's low.
Right, yeah, how are we doing for time? We can talk about our VIP experience.
Yes, we can.
So it was the 20-year anniversary last year of Wisconsin Death Trip, and Gene was like, "We're gonna go."
We're going.
That's sweet. He goes, "I'm gonna get VIP." I said to him, "I'm not getting VIP because for me, especially with all the drama with Tony, it just feels like a fucking money grab." But being a good motherfucker that Gene is, he got me a VIP anyway.
Yeah.
For my birthday.
For your birthday.
Sure, bro. And then the way it all went down, he kind of felt like it was just a money grab. But I'll let you explain your side of things on that, what you feel about it.
What I think about is the same as what I think about everything when someone comes out and does something or says something. There's not enough people to defend a situation or an opinion at the moment with Wayne's death. So he can't defend himself, he can't say what happened. They didn't patch up things before he passed away. So who the fuck really knows? Whether it was a money grab or if he's like, they genuinely just missed the band of Static X and playing that music.
Well, when you see everyone's doing their 10-year or 20-year anniversaries, selling out fucking concerts.
But it makes sense at the same time, because at the same gig I hit up Wednesday 13 and said, what are you doing? Are you doing a 20? And he said, probably.
Well, like you said, are you going to do another Murder Dolls? And
I'm
still in contact with Joey.
I asked him about it. He said he was still in contact with Joey. I said, you're doing a 20th anniversary.
We should have just lined up in his line when we're standing there.
We probably could have.
But I mean, we didn't have mini skirts or push-up bras big enough to suit
the questions I would have asked him.
That were there.
The questions I would have asked him, I asked him anyway, while he was waiting for his VIPs to line up and shit. But when he said, so when he said...
Oh, take it back though to the start, because that's when we finally got in the door.
Oh yeah, fuck. All right, we'll kick it off from the very start. So the tickets were said like rock up at 6 or 6:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we down in Fremantle as well, which is a prick to get to. It was a Friday night.
I can't remember what night it was. Or was it Thursday night? It wasn't a weekend.
No, yeah. Well, it was a weekday night, but Fremantle's a bit of a prick to get to from anywhere in the city, especially at the end of the day, working day, when you got traffic coming out and traffic going in. Everything gets congested. So we got there at 6:30 or just before, and met the missus there, went over to the pub and had a drink, went back over. Old mate comes out and he goes, oh, they're still not ready for anything, so go back to the pub. So he sent everyone over to the pub 3 or 4 times before we actually got to go in.
It got to the point where he said, look, boys, don't come back. Give me your number. I'll ring you when we're ready.
Yeah, send a text out or whatever he did. So I don't even think, did you get a text or a ring?
I think we pretty much went back for the probably fucking 6th time.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was just about to call you. Yep, I think we're just going to start pushing everyone in.
But that's not the band's fault. That could just be organisation of behind the scenes. People setting up or...
Also, you got to think that the bands were sound checking, and being that the mysterious guy called Zero that no one knows is Easel Dope by any chance was doing his sound check, they're not going to let us in and see him doing sound check.
Yeah, because the merch was at the back of the...
So essentially then they let all us VIP in, and we all sat in the little bar area there, and then we'll just knocking back drinks waiting to the point where we had so much drinks I fucking had a piss now.
Yeah.
But we couldn't even go through for a piss because we had to walk past the stage.
Yeah. I think when we walked in there, Wednesday 13 was doing, Mr. Motherfucker was doing finished sound checking as well. So...
It got to the point where Static X didn't even sound check.
Did they?
Because then next up, Dope was doing their sound check.
Yeah.
Because when we walked through, because then we're like, alright, we thought we could get some merch for him to sign, because with a VIP we got a meet and greet and they can sign shit.
Early access to merch
and even then they didn't want to let us in at first to get the merch.
No.
Because they were still doing the sound check. Yeah. And then so then essentially when we finally got it, I mean that's where we come back to where you're having a chat with Wednesday.
Yeah, so we bought our merch and I was just sitting waiting for you, went to the toilet and I was just at one of the other tables, standing tables, just having a rest, and he just walked over to the other table and sat there, and I took 2 steps, said, g'day, how's the tour? And he was open for a conversation.
Yeah, because I remember I came out from having a piss and you stand there, so I stopped. We had a quick chat with him. You asked him about Murder Dolls and whatnot.
Asked him what was happening. He said he was still in contact with Joey, but obviously some members of the band, like Trip, won't be part of it.
No.
The original, or I don't know if he's original, Ben Graves has passed away, so there's...
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he passed away years ago.
Yeah,
he passed away years ago, so they'd have to get a drummer, which easy enough for him to find.
Didn't they have AC Slade was playing bass or something from it? He's
like
still around.
Yeah, but Trip and the drummer aren't, so they've got to fill those
Trip is around, but he can fuck off.
Yeah, but so there's nothing new happening with Murder Dolls that he said. Only that he was in contact with Old Mate, and I said, "What about a 20th tour?" And he goes, "Yeah." You know, he goes, "That'd be cool to do." Blah blah blah. I said, "With Joey," and he said, "Of course." So I'm thinking, no.
Well, we have to. Essentially, it was him and Joey who were the band.
Yeah, so that'd be sweet if they did that. But then after that, we got we bought the merch and we got ushered down, or were we back out the bar?
We bought the merch, and then that lady came over and was like, "Are you guys meant to be here?" So we both said, "Oh yeah, we're just waiting for our mate."
Yeah.
Yeah, waiting for a mate type thing. We weren't waiting for anyone. We were having a chat to Wednesday, and then when his all the little goth girls were lining up for signatures, that's when we then got ushered back out.
Yeah.
And we had to go back out in the bar waiting area. And the bloke who was organising it pretty much was like, "Look, I'm just going to have to get this rolling. We got to get you guys in." So essentially went from there, they put us through that other room, and it was, "Alright, have your shit ready to sign." So I thought being VIP and for the amount you paid for it, the meet and greet, I thought at least get to be like, oh, hey, how you going? Yeah, how's the tour going? Rah, rah, but it wasn't. It was coming through. Nice to meet you. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Thanks. And just like
everyone could get 2 items signed. So I got the Wisconsin vinyl signed.
Yeah.
And a T-shirt. You got the T-shirt and the vinyl.
No, I got the vinyl and I got the CD cover signed.
That's right. And then once everyone had that done, we all had to go and wait again so we could get photos.
Just done a big circle, and even the photos were pretty poor quality.
Well, it was just on our phones.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's just pretty much you walk in.
Expect.
Yeah, but for what you paid, like I said, I expected to be you could at least have a quick 30-second conversation with them.
Yeah.
Not just barely make eye contact. Yeah, thanks for coming. Sign it. Push it over next.
Yeah.
But I understand they're short on time, but that's another reason why it made me feel like it was a money grab.
Yeah.
It's like they don't even give a fuck.
Yeah.
But maybe it wasn't like that. Like they could have had been technical issues. That's why they're running late.
Venue issues. But it comes back to as I said earlier about bands who do like hit. They've been touring for so long. So when they finally got to Perth, even though Perth was their first Aussie show, on the tour, you could just see they were pretty tired.
Oh yeah.
From being out on the road. And it's like, well, come to Australia first. Give us some love.
Pretty tired from counting all the money they've been making.
Yeah. Who really knows what's going on?
I love Static X. Even though Wayne's gone,
only they know
I still think that Zero, or whatever you want to call him, he done a fantastic job on stage.
I remember talking to you when they released that he re-recorded vocals for a song.
There's a couple of songs.
Off the
I think one of them was "I'm Stupid," wasn't it?
Push It or something, or
actually,
Blood for Days or something. I can't remember which one it was, and I thought you did a pretty good job at the cover. And you're like, yeah, but how much did they fuck with it? And when they were actually on tour, and I saw video clips that people had taken from their stage shows in the States, and it was on YouTube, I was like pretty happy with what was happening. And then, the entire show was.
It's a fucking awesome show.
He done a brilliant job at.
Essentially, all he was trying to do was, pay tribute to Wayne's legacy, and he did.
Mm-hmm.
They done a fucking good job. I thought it was a bit strange with that mask they got him wearing. Looks like they just went and skinned Wayne's corpse and put his zombie face.
I reckon it's awesome. I love it.
It looks cool, but it's like apparently the family approved this, and they said, yeah, that's all good, but obviously they don't see it the way it could be seen, but. I mean, I thought they done an awesome job. The show itself was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And it was good as well. They played essentially the entirety of Wisconsin Death Trip, not in the order of the album. They switched it up, which was good.
Yeah.
And
then they hit a bunch off Machine as well.
Yeah, then pretty much a few other hits they played at the end there. And you ended up with a set list. Yeah. And I ended up with a guitar pick.
Yeah.
Which was funny because I got the guitar pick of Zero. Which at that stage you're still hardcore going, no, it's not. He's all dope.
But he's got a dope pick.
And he gives me a dope pick. I was like, hey, cheers, mate.
Yeah.
But how's that fucking, what was it, was it like a Facebook Q&A or Instagram or something? And you were sending me the screenshots?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'm fucking...
Yeah, he was just jacking people up on it.
What was it, like 3 inches taller than that Easel guy?
He's like,
got my hair spiked up and shit like that.
Yeah, say like Easel, that guy from Dope wishes he was like me. Yeah. It's just talking shit. I think it got to a point they're like, well, everyone already knows, so we're just going to fuck with them. There had to be some trolling on their behalf.
Well, even like to the point where they're sharing a rehearsal space, they're sharing a tour bus, everything else.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if you watched that Bus Invaders, I think it's called.
And they just showed Zero's mask.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, we can't go back there because Easel's sick at the moment, but I just got to go get back and get the Zero mask. And then they bring it out from Easel's little fucking backstage area.
Yeah.
Or back of the bus area.
Yeah. No, I think at a certain point they just began just trolling people. Just for the fun, just to see how much they could get away with probably, or just to fuck with people.
That's the thing as well, and the thing that I hope as well is that they keep touring.
Yeah, well,
and especially now the new album's out.
Yeah, well,
I hope that's an excuse once all this fucking world pandemic shit calms down. It's a good excuse for them to do the fucking tour again and come back through Perth.
Yeah, well, they'll do a part 2 because this is Regeneration or whatever they call it, part 1. Volume 1, and then there'll be volume 2. What I would love to see is whether or not he keeps the mask.
Yeah.
Or if he just goes on to be like, yeah, this is all back.
I think he will, because he's always said in interviews that he doesn't want to show who he truly is because he doesn't want to take it away from Wayne.
Yeah.
It's about Wayne. It's not about him.
Yeah, I'm talking like in the future, like if they do an album that's not based on any of Wayne's work, it's just a brand new Static X album, different singer. Are they going to keep? Obviously, he'll probably keep the style of singing because it's going to be the same as all the other songs, so it'll run better. But whether or not he'll keep the mask and keep spiking his hair, or if he'll just get fucking tired of spiking his hair.
I don't know, man. I suppose. Should we stop it there and make it a part 2? Because this is probably going to drag out a bit.
Yeah, I think we have to.
Rather than boys all to fucking death, we'll stop it here. And we'll do a part 2. Gonna give a quick spiel on our YouTube, social medias, all that bullshit.
Not really, you can just link it in the description.
We'll link it all. Essentially, we release videos every fortnight. If you like what we say, subscribe. Hit the fucking thumbs up. Hit the bell. All that bullshit.
This goes out as a podcast, so it's on pretty much every platform. It's on Apple's podcasting app, whatever they call it, Applecast or something. It's on Google's, it's on the Google podcast, it's on Stitcher, Spotify, and SoundCloud.
Sweet.
It's all there.
You can tell we're real up to date on our social media. We're living back in caveman days over here.
We fucking hate social media.
But no, thank you for anyone that's watched. And yeah, we'll see you in part 2. Cheers.
Groovy.